Hey, fellas, guys.
Huh?
Guys,
What the heck?
what are you doing?
What?
Is the Super Bowl over?
What do you mean Super Bowl is over? It
What's going on?
hasn't begun, has it?
Frenchie, is that you?
Super Bowl's been over for 2 days.
Are these cameras on? Oh, man.
We were watching it.
I fell asleep in like the first quarter.
Was it that boring?
Woo! Let me tell you. Welcome to another edition of It's a Sports Show. As always, Dolphin Paul and Scott Cray. Man, that's the longest sleep I've had.
And we will be up for a Golden Globe next year.
Wow. It was a snoozer. It was a snoozer for sure. We're talking about the Super Bowl. This is our post-Super Bowl show. As always, keep those emails coming. It's a sports show at yahoo.com. And we are live across the planet at youtube.com, keyword IASS, and you'll find us there. Funny now, if you type in IASS, there's some kind of like student group putting together some movies, and now they're there too. So maybe we'll have to...
They're all getting on the bandwagon.
Maybe
but
it'll be
there's
like code word
I mean, we don't
pretzel.
have any graphics this week. I feel
Computers are down.
computers are down. We have a computer
Throughout
problem.
this entire realm of things, because we're used to the
Well,
award-winning...
last week was fantastic. Award-winning graphics by great
I heard you were bragging on the score. You inadvertently might get us another, 3 or 4 viewers that way.
As you know, I'm very modest, and I don't like to brag, but, I
They
called
named
a
the
lot of
Bragger
people.
Bridge after you.
I called a lot of people. The Super Bowl is over,
Yeah, thank God.
and
It's the most treacherous 3 hours I've ever been through. Well, no, I think I watched golf once.
our PlayStation simulation of the Super Bowl, I think, came out somewhat accurate.
It was pretty accurate, and it was actually about 30 times more interesting, in my opinion. Here's my take on the Super Bowl, okay? The Colts won, whoop-de-doo. I wasn't really in for either team. I think Manning certainly and the Colts deserve a Super Bowl. Patriot fans are voting on or rooting for the Bears because they didn't want Manning to even go up a notch at all. They wanted to, if anything else, knock him down another notch. Honestly, folks, even if you're a Pats fan, did you really want the Bears to win the Super Bowl? I mean, I said it last week. I couldn't understand how they even made it to that game. I don't know if it's a parity thing or what, but I don't know how teams with a quarterback like that even make it to the Super Bowl. How does it happen?
I got one word for you, one abbreviation, NFC. The National Football Conference is just
Crappy.
crappy, a lot
But
worse
even
than
New
the
Orleans,
AFC.
I think New Orleans really truly was a better team than the Bears.
Yeah, but let's give the Bears some credit. I mean, they made enough plays to beat New Orleans, made enough plays to beat Seattle. But I don't want to brag, but as you know, I don't like to brag. I mean, that's not my persona.
Not you.
Really, I don't.
You've
normally-
talked about how you don't like to brag about 3 times already.
I don't
in the
project
first 5
that.
minutes. You don't projectile? What?
No, but the game played out exactly like I thought. When you looked at who the Bears played, Seattle, who weren't very good.
Right.
Seattle took them to the brink. They played New Orleans, and New Orleans turned the ball over a ton of times. And give the Bears defense credit. They have a very good defense. But, they got a lot of turnovers. And now they go face a team who had, in my opinion, most people's opinion, and I would emphatically say that it was fact, they went through a much tougher road to get to the Super Bowl in playing on the road. They're a dome team, which a lot of people haven't talked about. Dome team on the road against Baltimore, and had to win a hard way. They didn't, it wasn't an easy victory. And then coming home, of course, again and playing New England, losing 21-3, and coming back for an improbable victory. And here's the other interesting thing. I mentioned this the other day. Denver and the Colts. I make kind of analogy between them because when they changed their identity, in other words, when you thought of Denver and John Elway back before they won Super Bowl, it was, a great passing game, John Elway. When they got a running game and a little bit of defense, voila, they win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Peyton Manning had 3 touchdowns and 7 interceptions in I think it came out to 3 and 8 actually, in this postseason. If we had sat here before the playoffs and said Peyton Manning was going to be 3 and 8, you'd say, Colts are done, nowhere near the Super Bowl. But voila, good running game. Their defense stepped up as we talked about. And they won a Super Bowl in an unconventional way, for them at least. But Peyton Manning's second half against New England, you just can't throw that out
Right.
because not many quarterbacks would have been able to do that.
Well, you talked about the Chicago defense, and I don't know, play was rather sloppy. Let's talk about the weather first. I mean, if I remember correctly, I thought I heard this was the first time it's ever rained in a Super Bowl.
I believe in 26 Super Bowls that are outside,
Right.
it's the first time weather actually had an effect on it, which is pretty amazing.
And you would think
And you didn't
this
even
would
think about
favor the
that.
Bears at this point, but both teams.
I think it did favor the Bears because I think if it was a dry track,
it would have been much.
I think it
yeah.
would have been a blowout.
You might be right. I mean, at 2 points in the game, there was a turnover, and then in one case immediately, in another case almost immediately thereafter, there was
Very
another
sloppy.
turnover.
Very
so,
sloppy.
And that's exciting for like maybe once or twice in a game to see it.
Well,
but the way this pigskin was
I think the
rolling
problem
around,
is that the problem is the Bears' offense is terrible. Okay, Rex Grossman was terrible. I mean, the Bears started off with the special teams touchdown. We talked about it last week. Special teams, turnovers would keep the Bears in the game. And, I've been kind of dogging the Bears' defense. They did bend a lot, but they didn't break. I think a lot of that was due to Tony Dungy being a little conservative around the goal line and taking points when he could. But, the Bears started with that touchback, which was exciting. Hey, it's a Super Bowl. Wow,
Right
touchdown.
off the bat.
The first time it's happened right off the bat. And, the Colts moved the ball a little bit. Then the Bears got a turnover and came back, and they were leading 14-6. But, I mean, look at the numbers of this football game.
Right.
And they kept flashing it throughout the game. The Colts at one time had 22 straight plays. At one time, it was 23 first downs to like 6. I mean, this was total domination by the Colts, except on the scoreboard. Unbelievably for the gambling public, which I'm one of.
Right.
The Bears actually had a chance to get a backdoor cover with that last drive. Of course, Rex Grossman, coughed that up, and he was kind of a big story, and everybody's dogging him.
Right.
Because he had a terrible game, and Peyton Manning didn't have a super game, but he made enough plays when he had to, and their running game was terrific. Dominic Rhodes, and we talked about the two-back. Ironically, Cedric Benson went out for the Bears, so
Right.
they were kind of stuck with Thomas Jones, who played okay, but Dye and Dominic Rhodes played fantastic. They got that running game going, offensive line. I thought the Bears had also kind of a lousy game plan. They challenged Peyton once, and because of a broken play touchdown, they just kind of sat there. I think that's one reason why the game was boring. You didn't see a lot of blitzing. They didn't do anything
Right.
exotic, and
Not enough pressure on
And
Manning.
to Peyton Manning's credit, that's why he's been in the league now and he knows what the heck he's doing.
Right.
He took all the underneath stuff when they backed up. If you saw a picture of the game, when you were watching the game, when they showed a sky view, you saw the Bears line. I don't know if you noticed this. The Bears linebackers were like 13 to 15 yards off
him
the
a
line
lot
of
of cushion.
scrimmage. Like, wow.
Well, Lovie Smith was protecting against the deep ball, undoubtedly. And that's kind of the style of defense that they play anyway. They don't want to get burned deep, and especially against the Colts, despite the bad weather, the Colts can burn you deep at any time. We talked about it last week, and I think that's why he provided that cushion. But I think, he's a professional coach. He knows what the Colts are capable of, but I don't know if anybody thought they'd have that much success underneath. And when you have a tight end like Dallas Clark, that's certainly going to help you out up the middle, too.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But I think what happened is the second half, and some of the analysts who watch football not watch football more than we do, but know what they're looking at.
Understand it better.
they basically said that Chicago, they were afraid to change it up because they didn't want to get burnt deep. And
Right.
I just thought the way Peyton Manning was picking them apart, man, this is the Super Bowl. This is the last game of the year.
Go after 'em.
You got to chance it here or there. You've got a very good defense come up with something. I'm not saying, you have to blitz them every time, but if you don't get to Peyton Manning, and that's the difference between Manning and Grossman. He's the type of quarterback, when he's not even playing well,
Yep.
you have to account for him. So, that also makes teams do different things. They're like, oh, we don't want to get beat by the deep ball. We don't want to get beat by the deep ball. Joseph Adai had like 10 catches through 3 quarters. He was a running back.
Well,
they were gashing him up the middle.
Right, and you take a look at the numbers. Third down conversions, the Colts had 18 of them. That's a pretty high number of third down possibilities. Now, they converted 8 of 18, so they were just shy of 500. But I don't know. I almost understand wanting to stop for the deep ball and maybe not making that change because all it takes is one deep ball. Whereas with the short game, at the very least, Chicago can't say they didn't make Peyton Manning earn it because he had to convert. What happens is when you go underneath, you end up with smaller plays. shorter plays, so you have to convert your third downs. Well, they did that, and so therefore, at least, like I said, at the very least, the Bears can't say they didn't make Peyton Manning earn it, as opposed to one shot down the field, touchdown, boom, next thing you know.
That's a good point. Even though the Bears, the Colts offense was moving the ball a lot, the Bears defense did kind of hold them to some field goals, and one ironic one by Adam Vinatieri who missed.
Dead left. I mean, it wasn't even.
I mean, you know how many people had those square pools? I mean, that affected a lot of people. Of all people,
well, you talked about the over/under, right? That would have put it over.
And as you know, I had the over. I thought there was going to be a lot of points, but that was a big mistake. But that's a good point that you made. As much domination as there was, the Bears were still in the football game. But Rex Grossman, the first fumble, I think you give him a pass on. Second fumble, Peyton Manning had the same thing. He didn't drop the football.
Right.
Then Grossman trips all over himself. And then he did that pump fake pass, which was absolutely horrible. And then that bomb when he had the guy open, excuse me, I think he threw that thing
higher than further.
I think he threw it over a 737. It's like when you see it on TV, you normally see the ball go downfield. That one went over the screen.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Yeah.
Where is he throwing that to? And of course, it gave enough time for Bob Sanders, who made a great play, to come over and snag the ball.
When you see these games, you were talking about getting that wide shot, and when you see these games, that ball is thrown. You see how quickly the defense moves to that ball while it's in the air. Forget it. If you're throwing, 10 stories high, you just, like you said, you're giving him more of a chance.
He was open for a split second. If that ball was a little lower, and listen, I mean, the guy's good enough to play quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
And let's say this: a lot of people don't agree with me. He's only had 18 NFL starts, so I'd say if you're a Bears fan, you should give him at least a chance to redeem himself, maybe with some competition, maybe bringing people in, just looking forward.
That's a good point.
But I mean, he was a pig, for lack of a better word, on that game. They just couldn't move the ball, and that obviously keeps your defense on the field,
right?
Which you don't want either, because I don't care how good your defense is, you can tire out. So, I mean, I know Patriot fans are probably watching the game going, oh, man, if we were only there. Well, you know what?
You weren't.
As a Dolphin fan, if the Dolphins were in that football game, they probably would have gave the Bears a tussle. So anybody in the AFC, like we talked about, the team that came out of the AFC was probably going to win the Super Bowl. And I think the score was a lot closer than the actual play indicated.
Sure. And I think, like you said, the weather kind of dumbed the Colts down a little bit. And the Bears' defense
hampered them a little bit, yeah, because they rely a little bit more on speed than the Bears do. And it wasn't, I mean, we weren't talking mist.
Right.
It was coming down in buckets. I'm surprised that Prince at halftime didn't look like Don King by the time that the halftime show was over.
I want to talk about the Prince show because overall, most people, and I agree with them, are saying that the Super Bowl itself was a bum. The commercials, for the most part, were a bum. The halftime show, Prince was okay. Prince is a strange dude anyway. I mean, I don't know what to make of him. I don't know.
Artist formerly known?
He's got that guitar and the cymbal and the waving artistic piece of cloth.
How about the Aunt Jemima do-rag? That was pretty interesting, wasn't it?
And then he ripped it off, and I was seeing close-ups of him. I kind of wished he kept it on.
Yeah.
The dude's got weird hair, weird skin. He's just weird.
I'll say
Has anyone identified that Prince is definitely a prince and not a princess? I mean, is this dude a male?
I'll say this, though. I thought it was a good halftime show.
Yeah.
I thought he rocked. I thought it
worse.
was pretty good. They had the cymbal. They played the Purple Rain.
Having the marching band out there play, that was cool.
I thought the halftime show was pretty good.
Yeah. I still like to see Aerosmith or somebody.
I mean, Prince is a musical genius by all accounts because of all the instruments and everything he plays. I mean, he's a little bit, I don't want to say outdated, but, a lot of people didn't get the Prince thing. But I thought he rocked, and I thought, he played that guitar really well.
Played a cover, so people got into that.
I thought it was real good. It was simple, not too extravagant.
I was just praying to God, praying of all praise, that there wasn't going to be a wardrobe malfunction. That's all I was hoping for.
You probably were hoping for one. Are you kidding me?
I didn't want to see no Prince.
No, the halftime show was good. The commercials didn't really knock me out. You wait so long, but there was a couple commercials that were amusing. The guys
much hype.
The guys with the Snicker bars and stuff like that. But
you would like that, seeing two guys kissing.
Well,
I
thought that was one of the funnier commercials.
I like the beard. That was the comb over.
The beard was good. The comb over. The hitchhiker.
Yeah.
With the axe.
I mean, there was a
Oh,
couple
he's got
of...
an axe. What's that for? That's a bottle opener. Oh, come on in.
They were funny,
Yeah.
but not like... I recall the commercials being like
Not
side-splitting.
like when we were young.
Yeah, back in the
Yeah,
day.
back in the
they
day.
were side-splitting back in the day. Now, not so much.
Yeah,
so,
but that Blockbuster one was hilarious.
oh, yeah, with the mouse? Did you see the
Yeah,
Blockbuster
see-
commercial?
I
You don't like furry animals? Cute furry animals being stepped on? What's the problem here?
I like furry animals, just not a mouse. I
He
mean,
says plug them in. Don't even think
well,
about
we
it.
won't go no further.
Yeah.
But no.
You got a thing against
thought-
animals. I'm calling who? Pamela Anderson. What? Oh, you'd love that. Forget it.
I thought that was okay. You
Yeah,
know,
they were
I mean,
okay.
some people found it a lot more hilarious than other people.
Let's talk about the future. Outside of the dynasty that is the New England Patriots, the last thing you want to hear, most of the time a team does not come back and do anything good the year after winning or appearing in a Super Bowl for that matter.
Can we just back up a little bit?
Yeah, let's hear it.
When I saw Don Shula walking in between those plays with that trophy, I was thinking to myself, if he was going to give that trophy to Bill Belichick, I'd pass out right here. That'd be it for me. Sorry, Frenchie. I would have passed out on
That
our
would have been-
field, giving it to New England. I would have, bam, went right
That
down.
would have
But
been the end of that.
Don
Never even
Shula,
thought
my
that
grandpa.
yeah.
Dan Marino flipping the coin. I mean, it was all there. But
Has Dan Marino ever, like, he looks the same as he did 10 years ago.
that's
The
what
dude
happens.
doesn't age.
That's what happens when you got millions of dollars.
And we're going to talk about football players aging in a second, but first, talk about the future of the Bears. They've got a young team, a young quarterback. You mentioned you got to give the guy a chance for next year, and I think he'll do just fine. It's not as permanent of a scar as maybe
You might have to
who
bring.
was-
You might have to bring somebody in,
who
though.
was flip-flopping that.
Maybe like a Jake
Who the
Plummer.
heck was it? Who was the QB that messed up that hold on the field goal?
Romo.
You know,
Tony
Romo,
Romo.
I think, has more of an issue to get over than.
Yeah, but that Romo's because of a single play. I
Right.
think Grossman, the jury is still out on whether he's going to be any good.
Because he shined at one point.
Some people think he's not going to be any good. And you know what?
I don't know how you can
well,
say
if you
that.
put me on the truth-o-meter and you said you think he's going to be an NFL quarterback for a long time, I'd say no. I mean, the guy's down the stretch, he was terrible.
Right.
Now, again, he's only had 18 starts, so I think he at least deserves a second chance. But if I was the Bears, I'd certainly want to bring in maybe a Jeff Garcia,
Right.
maybe a Jake Plummer, maybe you draft somebody to compete with him, and maybe get him going. I know Lovie Smith stuck with him. I thought they should have pulled him with about 3-4 minutes to go. Everyone says, no, you can't do that. But, you know,
think
they
I
were
keep
down by
playing at that
12,
point.
and the way he was playing, you know, I thought that
It's too late at that point.
Maybe should have pulled him.
You
but
stand by him. You know what I mean? There was a couple other times they should have pulled him too, but they didn't. So the future
yeah,
of
the
the
Bears will be back. The Bears will be back. There's no doubt about
How
it.
about the Colts? I mean, this is a team that's been doing their thing for so long now with the Manning-Harrison connection and now Dallas Clark and a couple of other good receivers. Where do the Colts
Well, they still
stand?
got a solid team, but they got a lot of free agents,
Yeah.
including Dwight Freeney, who they probably going to franchise. And they're only like $4 million under the cap, which is not a lot. For instance, the top team, I believe, is one of your teams, the 49ers, who have like $42 million under the cap, which is unbelievable.
That's why
the
we've sucked
Patriots
for a
are
few
30
years.
plus. Just to give you an idea, Miami's on the bottom third of teams with salary cap. They're about $18 million. So $4 million over the cap is probably in the top or bottom 2-3 teams of money available. So they're going to have to do some juggling, probably rework Peyton Manning's contract and so forth. But, you know, you bring up an interesting point. New England has done a tremendous job of getting back there.
Right.
Pittsburgh did not. You know, the Baltimore Ravens of a few years ago. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Injuries. You know, I know,
Somehow or
I know
other,
it's a
though.
cliche. How hungry are you? But, you know.
Somehow or other, the team just has not seemed to do well the following year after
A
making
lot
it
of
to a
teams
Super
don't.
Bowl.
And the Patriots happened a couple times, but they've sustained their brilliance there. You know, I mean, they got the AFC Championship game.
Right.
But some teams just like the Steelers, who you would have never thought they wouldn't be back there. But, you know, things happen. There's
The
injuries.
Eagles.
You never know. You spend all off season, by all accounts, doing interviews. And now Manning, you know, he was pretty. I mean, he didn't jump up and down. He didn't show a ton of emotion. But he said, you know, I don't want to pass. I mean, he was a stand-up guy. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he said, hey, I don't want to pass.
He's easy to not like.
Next year's a different year. I don't see why. I mean,
Come on.
why? Because he's on a lot of commercials.
Well, that just makes him annoying to see him in all those commercials. It has a lot to do with just his demeanor. He's at the Super Bowl, he's winning, yet he's still got some sort of you're not doing what I want to do mentality or attitude.
Well, he can't win. If he was jumping up and down, you'd say he's a Yahoo. He tries to be classy. He gives credit to his teammates, and he says, "I don't want to pass for next year. I want to continue to improve as a quarterback." And now nobody likes him.
Well, I mean, I guess when you got Tom Brady, who is, top notch as far as attitude goes, he compliments his teammates, never has his head down, never seems to be arguing or yelling at anyone. Well, all right, he had his head down that one game that you're pointing out.
Let's back up here. Never has his head down.
That was a while ago.
He's the mopiest guy I've ever seen when he loses.
No, that's not necessarily
absolutely.
completely true.
That's yeah, you're taking a Patriot fan, man. Are they one of your teams, the Patriots?
No.
I know you got the Niners, the Bengals,
I like
Saints,
the Colts.
The Colts.
The Colts have been my team all year.
Listen, I'm
Super Bowl winners.
They don't call me Colt Paul for nothing. You know what I mean?
Peyton Paul.
Who was the biggest head dropper besides Dan Marino?
Oh! Frenchie coming out of the blue.
Ooh.
Come on,
It's true,
Frenchie.
though. You see him on the sidelines, he's got his head down. You see him walking off, he's got his head down. How about when they had a 3rd and long and they decided to play it safe, hand off, and then punt? He's arguing with the sidelines. He's already got like a 12-point lead, I think it was.
Well, he didn't want to run the ball on 3rd and change. I don't blame him. And Marino didn't put his head down. He put it in people's faces.
Sure.
Like, catch that
Whatever
ball.
you
Run
say.
that route. Dan was the man.
I took a look, and I forgot to print up the list. I wish I had it in front of me, but I know one team anyway. If you go to Vegas right now, you can go with the odds people.
I have it right here.
Oh, you do?
Super Bowl. Listen, I'm prepared.
All right, well, you take it then, since you have it in front of you. No wonder I couldn't find it. You had it, for crying out loud.
Well, Super Bowl odds for next year, and,
Yeah.
and probably a lot of people.
If you put your
that are
money
watching
down,
this show a little bit later.
If you put your money down
Yes.
right now, this is what the odds look like for next year's Super Bowl champions.
Oakland Raiders, 150 to 1.
Go figure.
Put your money now on the Oakland Raiders. But it starts out. We'll go over the top few teams. Teams people are interested in. San Diego Chargers 9-2.
They're the ones expected to do it all.
Indianapolis Colts 5-1. Chicago Bears 7-1.
Right.
Ahead of the New England Patriots 9-1. I think some of that has to do with being in the NFC. Remember, that's just getting to the Super Bowl, I believe, or unless that's winning it. New Orleans Saints 12. Cincinnati 12. Baltimore 14. Some Dallas fans out there 18. Giants 30-1. Rams 40, my
Where's your
beloved
Dolphins?
75-1.
Where's my Niners?
Your Niners are actually
6,000 to 1.
No.
49ers are 60-1.
Better than Miami.
Better than Miami.
Let's lay it down now, baby. I thought I saw Cincinnati Bengals kind of high up there, too.
Cincinnati Bengals are 12-1.
Which is interesting, because you look at like the top, 5 or 6. It's all teams that are just gotten knocked out of the playoffs, basically, but you don't have too many new additions in there for the most part.
Right, but again, somebody made a good point on the radio. I don't want to take it.
Must have been Scott.
No, it was actually.
That's all you listen to is Scott.
7 of the teams
I had
in the
to plug his
playoffs
name because I know he watches us.
were not in the playoffs last year. So
Right.
when we look at the schedule for next year, say we can beat this team, lose to this team. I'm just saying.
What does it mean?
There's a big turnover in the NFL, and you can get good quick or bad quick.
Yep.
That's all that means. And can I just say one thing about your Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, this should
that
be
I
good.
think is kind of funny.
Cincinnati juice.
Tony Dungy in his post-game speech in Indianapolis said, these are great players from 1 to 53, and the part I'm most proud of is from 1 to 53.
They all stayed out of jail.
You'd be happy to have them as your sons. I was thinking, if that was Marv Lewis, what would he say? There's 40 guys on this team. The other ones, not so much.
Yeah, the other one. There's about a quarter of this team you don't want to take home
Now,
to mama.
I got to say this. Tony Dungy, he talks about faith and everything, and no matter what your religious beliefs are, I mean, the guy's a very classy individual.
He is. Both quarterbacks, coaches.
He's
Lovie
genuinely
Smith,
a nice guy, and you can
Right.
tell. So he's not the guy. I'm glad he won it for that type of coach because he's not the yellow screamer.
Right.
Especially here in New England, we love the yellow screamer, animated Parcells, sit on a bench, you're fired, you're cut.
Get in there. I don't care if you've had 27 concussions.
Yeah, absolutely. Concussion, nothing. Put the blue shirt on.
Absolutely.
So he's done it in a classy way, and it's
Well,
a
both
pretty good
guys-
story. And we'll see how it. We'll see
Both
what happens
guys
next
have
year.
the same demeanor. Lovie Smith and that.
But
other
Tony
guy
has
too.
a much more manly name.
Oh, Lovie Smith. That's
Tony
kinda,
Lovey.
It's kind of Sassy.
No,
I'm Lovey.
that's what Thurston
Nice to
Howell
meet you.
III used to call his wife in Gilligan's Island. Lovey.
Yeah, well,
That was a long time ago. A lot of people probably never heard of Gilligan's Island.
no one even knows
I'm
what
dating
you're,
Tough
myself.
reference.
what you're talking about. Hey, so things in the land of football move pretty quickly. Here we are. We finished the Super Bowl. We got a Pro Bowl. And then next thing you know, it's going to be time for, well, no, I'm not going that route yet. I'm still
the Pro
talking
Bowl.
football.
Okay.
Oh, the Pro Bowl, yeah, that's going to be more
I'm
of a
the biggest
snoozer.
football fan there is, but the Pro Bowl,
That's going to be more of a snoozer than the Super Bowl.
I have no interest in that.
You got Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, and then you have
What's in that cup?
the camps,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, you have a draft. Like boom, 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 one right after the other. Things are not that far away for you. Am I right? As far
No,
as
but you kind of messed up the order. There's really not a lot of camps before the draft, but I understand
not
what you're
camp,
saying.
that thing that they do to running in the stuff.
Combines.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, from now till April, I'm still into football because free agency starts, and that's exciting.
Right.
If you didn't make the playoffs, because you.
And now a
basically-
new rule that just got pointed out being that you can cut people, I think it's February 15th, and it doesn't take place till June. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a February cut. Oh, we'll have to explain it more next week because basically if you cut someone in February, you split the difference on the cap.
In June, so you won't have to
in
wait.
June, and you still give the opportunity.
that's a
It's
good
definitely
rule.
a little for the player, but it helps out the team as well. So.
Yeah, from now till there's a ton of draft boards out already and stuff like that. So if you're a football junkie like me, until April,
Right.
that's when the season ends. And for me, there's a lot of player movement. And if you're a team like the Dolphins who need help, or other teams that need help, you get excited about maybe picking up a free agent. It's combines, drafts, and all that. But we'll keep you updated. Of course, the baseball season's coming.
12 more days till spring training. Do it up, Paul. The
Celtics-
invisible board.
Long season. But I'll tell you what, it's baseball is a long season, and I think there's a lot of games. But the Red Sox have made a lot of moves, including
A lot of excitement. And
the
a
biggest
lot of,
move. So, I mean, that'll certainly be fun. I mean, I don't know what we're going to talk about from here until March, but
Baseball.
Maybe we'll take some
All
time
baseball.
off. Can we take some
I'm not
time
taking
off?
any time off. I don't think so. Hey, real quick, how much time we got left, Frenchie? Because there's one important thing I wanted to talk about.
4 minutes.
4 minutes left, just in time. The most important thing I wanted to talk about. What'd you eat during the Super Bowl? That's all I care about is food.
Well, I was over a customer's house. As you know, I'm in sales, so a
Right.
customer who became my friend.
How
had
is Dishes sales going anyway? Good? You selling a lot of plates? Knives? Door to door? No.
Dishes?
Forget it. Yeah, I'd say.
Well, anyway, he had a clam boil. Just the usual chicken.
Oh, nice.
Stuff like that. a
Chicken.
Desserts
In a
and
clam
stuff.
boil?
No, a clam boil and chicken
Oh,
salad.
man.
Some potatoes.
All right, so you did
Some
all right for
chorizo
yourself.
and peppers.
You didn't hold back, did you?
I did because, as you know, I gotta watch my weight now. Now that we're on YouTube, I'm required by It's a Sports Show executives to drop some weight.
Absolutely.
So, easy on the sugar. Just had a little small dessert, some Bacardi and Diet Cola,
Nice,
0 carbs, 0 sugars.
nice.
And I thought you wanted to talk about Ted Johnson, or is that something we're gonna do next week?
I knew we
maybe?
didn't have time, so I figured we'd
We'll
move
do that
on
next
to
week.
food.
Other
I
issues,
thought
'cause-
about you while I was making chorizo and peppers, by the way, because I know
You
you got
did?
that Portuguese heritage going on. I was trying to do it just
Would you
right.
see me in on the cover of GQ or something?
I saw you on the green pepper as I was slicing it up, you know? It's all good. It's a sports show at yahoo.com. Keep those emails coming. YouTube.com, youtube.com. Type in IASS. That's where you'll find this. We're usually on there by Thursdays. And you just keep drinking from that dolphin nectar, dolphin juice. It's all good. Thanks to Frenchie and thanks to Jen behind. Oh, Jen's going to see, who is that guy there?
Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. So hopefully she has a good time at the
I want to see
concert.
Cameron Diaz. Is she going to be around?
Are they together still?
No.
Oh,
But I just want to see her.
I didn't understand why Justin Timberlake.
There's something
would
about
like
Mary.
Cameron
Something about
Diaz.
Cameron.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.